Dave Ramsey has made millions teaching Americans how to escape debt. But recently, he revealed something shocking. A single purchase that could silently trap even hard-working families in the middle class forever. And here's the twist. Most people proudly park this wealth killer right in their driveway. According to Ramsey, it's not your rent, it's not your groceries, and it's not inflation that's holding you back. It's the way you spend your money on things that lose value the moment you buy them. The biggest culprit? That shiny new car you can't stop thinking about. He says this one decision, often disguised as a reward for success, could be the very thing keeping you from ever reaching real financial freedom. And when a 24-year-old military man called into the Ramsey show asking if he should splurge on a $30,000 sports car, Ramsey didn't just give him advice, he gave him a brutal reality check that millions of Americans need to hear. But what exactly did Ramsey say that left listeners stunned? And why does he believe that owning just one more car could be the biggest financial mistake of your life? It all started when a young caller named Micah, a 24-year-old from Washington, D.C., reached out to the Ramsey show for guidance. Micah wasn't in trouble, at least not yet. In fact, he sounded like he had it all figured out. He was earning $80,000 a year in the military, had a $13,000 car fully paid off, and had managed to save up some cash. But temptation was calling. Micah had his eye on something flashier, a Nissan 370Z, a sleek, powerful sports car worth around $30,000. He admitted it wasn't a necessity. It wasn't even a smart investment. He just wanted it because, as he said, it's for play. At first, it sounded harmless. After all, he planned to pay in cash, not take out a loan. But Ramsey knew exactly what was going on. Beneath Micah's confidence was a familiar trap, the desire to look successful instead of becoming wealthy. So, instead of praising Micah for his discipline or his savings, Dave Ramsey dropped a financial truth bomb that made the audience go silent. What he said next didn't just apply to Micah. It applied to millions of Americans trying to climb the financial ladder without realizing they're climbing in the wrong direction. Dave Ramsey didn't sugarcoat his response. He looked right at the pattern that traps so many Americans and said something most people aren't ready to hear. The way you know someone is going to stay middle class is when they have two very Nick-y cars sitting in front of a middle-class house. It wasn't just about cars, it was about mindset. Ramsey was pointing to the symbol of financial illusion, people who work hard, earn good money, but spend it all on things that make them look rich instead of helping them become rich. He explained that owning multiple expensive cars, or even one that's far beyond your needs, is a quiet killer of wealth. Cars lose value the moment you drive them off the lot. They depreciate faster than almost anything else you can buy, and yet people proudly make this purchase, thinking it's a sign of success. In reality, it's a sign of being stuck. Ramsey wasn't trying to shame Micah. He was trying to wake him up. He reminded him that real financial growth doesn't come from looking impressive. It comes from living below your means, investing early, and letting your money grow quietly in the background. The audience could feel the tension. It wasn't just Micah on the line. It was every viewer who's ever justified buying something shiny because I deserve it. And as Ramsey continued, he exposed the deeper problem behind this decision, a cycle of spending that keeps people from ever escaping the middle class. Ramsey called it the illusion of progress. You get a raise, maybe a bonus, and instead of investing or saving, you reward yourself. A better car, a bigger house, or the latest tech. It feels good in the moment, but in reality, you've just upgraded your liabilities, not your assets. He explained that many Americans fall into this same pattern without even realizing it. They borrow money for cars that lose thousands in value every single year, locking themselves into years of payments. According to Experian, the average American borrows $40,227 for a new car and $26,248 for a used one. Ramsey pointed out that this habit isn't harmless. It's the reason many families never move beyond the middle class. When your wealth goes into things that depreciate, your ability to invest in things that grow, like real estate, index funds, or businesses, disappears. The problem isn't that you don't make enough money, Ramsey said. It's that you're putting your money in the wrong places. He compared it to filling a bucket with holes. No matter how much you pour in, it's never going to fill up. And for Ramsey, the biggest hole in that bucket is a car sitting in your driveway that's worth less every single day. But he didn't stop there. He offered a solution. And it's one that could completely change how you think about money, wealth, and freedom. Ramsey's solution was surprisingly simple, but brutally effective. If you want to build wealth, he said, you've got to keep as little money as possible in things that go down in value. He broke it down like this. Never have more than 50% of your income tied up in depreciating assets, things like cars, gadgets, or other fun purchases that lose value over time. Instead, he urged people to redirect that money into assets that grow, investments, businesses, or real estate. That's how people move from earning money to multiplying it. Ramsey explained that a car will always go down in value, but investments have the potential to compound, to make you money even when you're sleeping. Your money should be working harder than you are, he reminded the caller. He even pointed out that there are ways to build wealth without being rich first. Real estate, for instance, has become more accessible through fractional ownership platforms that let people invest with just a few $100s. It's not about how much you start with, it's about where you put it. And that's the key difference between the middle class and the wealthy. The middle class spends for comfort. The wealthy invest for freedom. But Ramsey's lesson didn't end there. He also shared how smart investors are now using unconventional assets to create new streams of income and protect their wealth from inflation. And it might just surprise you. Ramsey went on to explain that true wealth doesn't come from the things you own. It comes from the things that earn for you. He highlighted that while most Americans chase comfort, the wealthy chase leverage. Instead of buying a $30,000 car that starts losing value the second you drive it off the lot, you could put that same money to work in income-producing assets. And today, there are more options than ever before. He mentioned that everyday investors can now get into real estate without buying a whole property. Companies like Arrived Homes, backed by Jeff Bezos, allow people to buy shares in rental or vacation homes with as little as $100. Earning passive income without the stress of being a landlord. For those who want to go bigger, platforms like First National Realty Partners, FNRP, make it possible to invest in commercial real estate, such as grocery-anchored shopping centers with major tenants like Walmart and Whole Foods. These are stable, recession-resistant properties that generate consistent cash flow. Ramsey also noted that alternative assets, like precious metals and fine art, can protect your portfolio from inflation. Gold IRAs, for instance, allow investors to hold physical gold or silver as a hedge against economic uncertainty, while platforms like Masterworks open the door to investing in high-value artworks from artists like Picasso or Banksy. The key, Ramsey said, is to turn your spending habits into investing habits. Instead of paying for something that drains your wallet, start putting your money into something that pays you back. Because when you change what you value, from status to stability, you change your entire financial future. And as Ramsey put it bluntly, you can either look rich or you can be rich, but you can't be both. Ramsey's real message wasn't just about cars, investments, or even money. It was about mindset. He said that wealth isn't built in the bank, it's built in your behavior. The middle class tries to look rich. The wealthy focus on becoming rich, he explained. It's not about earning six figures or inheriting millions. It's about learning to delay gratification, to think long-term instead of short-term. The person who invests today instead of upgrading their car will have options tomorrow. Options that lead to freedom, not just survival. Ramsey warned that lifestyle inflation is what traps most people. Every time income goes up, expenses rise right along with it. New car, bigger house, better vacations. But the wealthy think differently. They keep their lifestyle the same and use the extra income to buy assets that grow. That's the difference between a life built on payments and a life built on progress. He emphasized that every purchase is a trade-off between your present comfort and your future freedom. A $30,000 car might look impressive now, but that same money could double or triple over time if invested wisely. And when you truly grasp that concept, you stop asking, "Can I afford this?" and start asking, "Is this worth my future?" But Ramsey didn't stop there. He also delivered one final truth that stunned even his listeners. The middle class doesn't fail because they don't have enough money. They fail because they never learn how to make their money work for them. As the call wrapped up, Ramsey's tone softened, but his message hit harder than ever. He told Micah that buying the sports car wouldn't ruin his life, but it would delay his freedom. "You can have anything you want," he said, "just not all at once." And that's the truth most people don't want to hear. Building wealth isn't about deprivation. It's about prioritization. You decide what matters more, the thrill of now or the peace of later. Ramsey reminded his listeners that discipline is the bridge between dreams and reality. Every dollar you save, invest, or refuse to waste brings you one step closer to independence, the kind that money can't buy but only smart choices can earn. He also pointed out that wealth isn't just about money, it's about control, the freedom to wake up and know you're not tied to a paycheck, the power to say no when others can't, the ability to live life on your own terms. In the end, Ramsey's words were simple but unforgettable. You don't build wealth by what you buy. You build it by what you keep. Stop trading your future for temporary pleasure. Let your money fight for you. And with that, the episode ended not with applause but with quiet reflection. A reminder that the real test of financial wisdom isn't how much you make, but how well you manage what you already have. Because for Ramsey, wealth isn't about status. It's about freedom.